Currently, altcoins aren't looking too hot, but Bitcoin has some bullish on-chain indicators. We'll talk about my plan. Keep watching. Hey, welcome to BlockRoots. I am Josh. As always, welcome to the channel. On behalf of my co-founder, Kenner and Clark, we just want to say welcome. And also, too, if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, just make sure that you do so below. Super easy. Click the red button, the subscribe button. Yeah, it really boosts our ego when you subscribe to our channel, but also, too, I'll be honest, it does help us as far as get more views, and we want to help people, right? We want to help people, and with that said, make sure to subscribe. If you do subscribe, make sure to also comment below, because when you leave a comment, you actually are in a $100 giveaway for Bitcoin each and every week, and we'll do that in a couple of days, okay? So just be aware of that. And as always, nothing is financial advice. Now, usually I have like an outline, and it goes really smooth, right? But right now, I don't even have an outline. So I'm just basically talking to you, looking at the camera right now, looking at my screen, and I want to go over Bitcoin. We'll just take a look at that, what's going on, my thoughts on that. We'll also look at altcoins. You know, they've dipped lately. Specifically, what's going on? Did they capitulate or not? Some people are buying, some people are not. We'll just have to look at the chart, and we'll take a look at what I'm looking at. And also, too, we'll just talk about some bullish indicators for Bitcoin right now, specifically on chain, which is really good because that's stuff that you don't actually see on the chart. And so a lot of times these on-chain analytics will kind of be a precursor to a bullish momentum following that. So we'll take a look at that. We'll look at Twitter, Willy Woo, Cole Garner, have some of that information. So, you know, Bitcoin, it's going sideways, right? So if we were to compare Bitcoin right now to the S&P 500, right? This is the S&P 500 hourly chart. Of course, Bitcoin has followed it quite a bit, you know, slowly moving up, but it had that big drop. And then, you know, the SPX has looked really strong. The stocks have looked really strong. But Bitcoin, after that big drop, right, it's just kind of grinding sideways a little bit. So we're not seeing a lot of action as far as Bitcoin in the crypto market. It looks kind of dead and dull compared to the stock market. And so what does that mean in particular? Are people afraid to get into these higher risk assets right now? So we'll take a look at some of the on-chain analytics, but overall, if I were to zoom out with Bitcoin, let's go ahead and go to the 4-hour chart, okay? So the 4-hour chart, Bitcoin, right, it's going sideways. And then the meme triangle, right, I've drawn that several times, depending on however you draw it, right? Here, let me do this so that you get all these areas hitting. And I'll go ahead and add the bottom as well. Even though this is not going to be perfect, people complain all the time about, quote, my trend lines. I don't even really use trend lines to trade. Some people do, but I don't. I think a lot of times trend lines are made to be broken. And so I don't really care how I draw it. Don't be critical of my trend line. Basically, all I'm trying to show you here is that price is compressing, volatility is slowing down, which, again, with this compression, it's going to lead to volatility, to an expansion. Is that expansion going to be up? Is it going to be down? Nobody knows. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody knows. And so when it comes to this, though, this compression, really the keys, again, are in horizontals, right? And so if you look also at the volume, we've had a nice uptick in volume here. Volume precedes price, right? You hear that. So are we going to see a nice push up in price right here? You know, as far as the price right now, if I were to go ahead and take the fixed range of this area, right? So this is the range right here. In the fixed range, the point of control shows you that price is right at the point of control. This is the price where volume has been the highest, and basically it's just hanging out there. And I expect it to maybe to cross over the point of control, kind of compress a little bit more, and then we're going to see lift off or breakdown from there. But for me to want to get, quote, bullish overall, certainly, yeah, I want to see a higher high, and not just in this area right here as far as 10,700. I want to see a higher high mainly over 10,900, this area, okay? Because this area right here has also been the start of the upper range or the bottom of the upper range. And so again, the bottom of the upper range, which has then acted as resistance here. Of course, we did see price go over that. So I would be even more bullish. If you really want me to get, quote, bullish, I definitely want to see price get back above 11,150. That's it. I mean, for me, if price can't get above this, I just think it's going to continue ranging, or it's going to break down eventually. So that's the area I'm watching. I want to see it recapture that area. Again, currently in this one long range right here, we're just going sideways. It's hugging this point of control. The volume here, expected to continue to kind of go sideways in there and then eventually break. Now, as far as the price right here, if I were to move this red line, of course, we do want to see it continue to make higher highs, but also higher lows. But if price does break below this point, this 10,400, I don't only think that it's going to break down here. I mean, it's very likely it's going to break down to the bottom of the range, right? And retest these lows right here. And then from there, we can see what happens. So I do believe that if price breaks down from here, if it does break this compression, I mean, this is a long compression. I don't think this is going to be just a little dip and then back up. I think it's going to go down here and test the lows. Okay, so again, the meme CME Bitcoin's futures gap still lies somewhere down here. I'm not going to get that chart out, but it's around 9,600 or so. So down around this area, it'd have to dip down here. It is what it is. Let's take it day by day. I'm not really worried about the gap. I just want to make sure that price makes a higher high and breaks above 11,100, specifically 10,900. Now, as far as the SPX, like I said, it looks pretty good. If it continues to go up and the dollar continues to go down, a weakened dollar, and then I think Bitcoin's going to do well. But right now, people just seem to be a little timid on that. Now, as far as Ethereum, Ethereum, it's not even grinding up. It's in a flat, straight out range, right? So if I go ahead and take this, basically there you go, right? This is the area that has held as support for multiple touches around 330s, and of course, from here, this entire range of around 320s. If it breaks 320s again, if it breaks down here again, I don't think it's just going to be a wick. I think that we see a breakdown, and a lot of people are talking about breaking down all the way down here to around, 285 to as low as the lowest I see this going at all. If it were to break down, I'm not saying it's even going to break down, but 250s, right? It's going to bounce off this area and then probably move on back up. Likely capitulate or break down and move sideways, and then from there maybe it can move on up. As long as it holds this previous resistance, if that holds as support, that's going to be key for me. But just zooming out, that's a lot of people are targeting 250s to 280s, and this is why. They're just looking at these horizontals and these areas that held as resistance and support earlier. So, but again, this has been a key area. If it breaks the 320s, I think we do go down a nice ways. So let's hope for that. Let's hope that holds, right? And let's hope that holds primarily for altcoins, because altcoins, haven't looked great. Uniswap specifically. This is the 4-hour chart. Excuse me, for Uniswap or Uni. This has been a key area, right? This is Binance, I think, the 4-hour chart, and of course, this held as support. Again, this held as support and has held as resistance, and that's around $2.86. So again, I drew these lines here because I showed somebody on Twitter. I was like, it was FOMOsaurus, a friend of mine, and he was talking about how he's a buyer here. And I said, hey, look, I want to see it break above 286, specifically on the 4-hour chart. I would rather buy a little bit higher of a price, 15, 20 cents more, and sure, I have to pay more, but I would much rather pay at a higher price and make sure that price stays and that support holds than for me to buy at resistance and then just to break back down and hit, lows underneath here below, 258. My goodness, on the lower time frames, this could go down to under $2 again. But yeah, is this a good price compared to where it was before? It is, but again, a lot of these altcoins specifically, once they get put on FTX and Binance and on these derivatives platforms, people can short them. And so they make money shorting them. And if these people actually hold a lot, you have to don't forget that Uniswap was a airdrop. So people hold a lot of Uniswap. You know what? If you want to make money, if you see the market's not doing so hot right now, hey, if I own, a million Uniswap or whatever, however many you own, hundreds of thousands, just go ahead and just dump it and short it at the same time, and you might just wick the price a little bit. It might not go down as much as you want. It might bounce, but hey, you can just make a quick trade and you've made a lot of money. You can do that in crypto. So I think some of these exchanges, again, with derivatives, you just have to watch out for that. That's why I hope that some of my favorite altcoins don't get put on some of these derivatives, but eventually if they're successful enough, they're going to. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if it wasn't for derivatives and these bear markets, if you couldn't short Bitcoin and these altcoins, you wouldn't really make a lot of money if that's all you could do is just hold, right? Or try to buy the dips and sell the bounces, which that's not as fun and it's more risky too. So we're already about 10 minutes in. Let me fly through here a couple more assets. One in particular that I'm watching is YFE, or Yearn Finance. A lot of people are talking about this could be the dip right here. And this is where I charted it before. And this was a main area where it really compressed before it broke up and hit the new highs. Well, actually it hit, what, 40,000, came back down and then hit, again, $44,000. Wish I would have sold mine there. But I did not. I sold it under 20K. And what can you do? I bought it at 2,500, so I made, again, pretty good returns off of it. I'm not too worried about it. The only bad thing now is I have to pay taxes on it, unfortunately, if I want to buy back in. You have to pay for those profits, so be aware. If you made money during this alt season, make sure that you're taking that money out instead of just throwing it back in, especially if you're in the United States where you are taxed on each trade. I'm just awareness of that. I got sick last night after calculating my taxes. I was telling Clark about how much I owe, and we both cried together because we're both in areas that are highly taxed. So with that said, watch this. I want to see Yearn Finance break back above this rejected area, right? This was the previous support and really has been that area for a while. So really $775 to $16,000. If it can break back above there, have some good volume that comes in, and then even on lower time frames, show that area, this level right here, as support. If it holds, then I'm a buyer. I think that if it fails or if it rejects off this area again, then we're likely going to see $12,000 or $12,380 is where I have here. Now, if it breaks this area, we're likely going to fall even lower down here to around 9,755. You don't want it to break down here. I hope it doesn't break down to this low. I mean, I would probably buy quite a few. I think Yearn is a pretty good project overall. Really smart. Andre's smart. I know he gets a lot of criticism, but overall, I think Yearn is going to do well. And that's just my thoughts on that. So watch this range, okay? Now, as far as a couple of the other assets that, quote, I'm bullish on, right? It's been SHROOM Finance and YFL. And I do go and I talk about this in my Telegram. I do tell people specifically what I'm doing, what I'm holding, and why I'm holding it. And so I talk about there's not really a lot that I'm holding outside Bitcoin, Ethereum to yield farm. There's still farming opportunities where you can make passive income, but it is very difficult and you're not making as much money because there's not as many people in the market. I'm still holding Zcash because it's got the halving in November. I'm still holding YFL and SHROOM, and that's YFL, YF Link, and that's because it has Link Swap, which is their DEX coming out. And again, for me, I bought it down here, so I'm not worried. Oh my gosh, I bought it down here in the $30 area, right? So it's not going to hit $30 again. Can it hit down here? Below 300 again? It could. I mean, right now, the important level that we wanted to watch was this area where it just popped back above. So thank goodness I was watching $300 right here. This was a key area for me. Check it out. It popped above it on the 4 hour and it's broken back down and it's holding right now. So I wanted to hold $300. I do expect this to range. And so let me get rid of maybe this one right here. But I expect if Link Swap does well, which I believe in the team, I really trust the team, and that's why I'm in YFL. I think that it's got some bullish fundamentals. Overall, I think that it can range in this area between 600 to 300 for a long time. People can accumulate. Then as more money kind of comes in again, and I can talk about that, I believe that this will do very well. And overall, I still stand behind the fact that I think that it'll hit new highs. Do I think that it'll hit new highs in October? I don't, because a lot of people took profits and a lot of people ran out of money, okay? So we do need some accumulation, we needed a pullback, and we need things to settle down again, and we need that hype to organically build up again, I think, over the next couple of months, and then prices push up, especially in 2021. So that's what I think specifically. I am bullish on YFL. I think the price will pop once Link Swap gets out. And if you're a YFL holder, you can earn dividends on fees off their Link Swap and some other good things as well too. Now the other one that I talk about is SHROOM. Again, SHROOM is connected with creating a DEX, long story short, for in-game assets and NFTs. It's like a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I think that they're a very smart team that I've talked to personally many times. I am bullish on SHROOM Finance. I talk about it a lot. But the reason why I talk about YFL and SHROOM is not just because I hold them. I've held many altcoins, right? But I've sold them. I haven't sold these because I see long-term value in it fundamentally, and I believe in the team. I trust the team, which is very important. And then also, too, I think that the use case is there because if you think about the gaming industry, okay, you think about in-game assets, NFTs, skins, and all that, there needs to be a place that is decentralized. It doesn't need to be decentralized, but again, that a place where you can use blockchain decentralization. They're focused on making it a community project as a DAO. That's really cool as well. And for this place to be able to seamlessly trade NFTs and skins and in-game assets, it could be really cool. And the good thing about SHROOM is that it's not just focused on blockchain games. So a lot of these companies are focused on blockchain games. Not everybody's into blockchain games. I want to be able to have an asset that is linked to everyday games and game companies that people play all the time. And so SHROOM will actually in their business model be able to link in-game assets with any game, okay? So that's bullish overall. And so they do plan to work with indie developers, and they also do plan to work as well with some, VCs and other things too. But there's what's bullish, a lot of VCs have reached out to SHROOM, multiple ones that I know of I can't disclose. But SHROOM, again, wants to get them involved because that gets the smart, how can I say it, right? Bigger, professional people in the game as well to spread that, to create partnerships. But at the same time, they want to keep it a DAO. They want to keep it community focused because what's the point in basically allowing a VC to come in and control a lot of your asset? They don't want that. They want it to be community owned. And that's, again, why I'm attracted to it. But with that said, it's a good sign when VCs want to get into an asset specifically. But as far as, SHROOM goes, yeah, it's just like any asset. It was not immune to this pullback, right? It hit 30 cents. I bought down here at 1 cent. I was talking to people on Twitter about it, and finally it boomed. And it's holding this area quite nice. It's holding above 10 cents is what I want to see. And they announced, too, that GameSwap, the DEX, will plan to be out in November, but staking in order to get GSwap, the actual token, where you'll get, I think, 60 to 70%, maybe up to 80% of fees. I'll have to look at that again. It's not 80%, 60 to 70, but you'll get a lot of fees. It'll be a passive income. It's a big deal, and I think that with the eyes of these institutional or bigger players getting in and wanting to get in this type of industry, I think that it's going to do well overall. And so the longer that you provide liquidity and you stake with the SHROOM token, the more rewarding it's going to be. So they're looking at a lot of ways to keep value in SHROOM, such as the core protocol that you saw that, of course, brought a lot of value to liquidity providers. They want to do the same thing. So again, SHROOM is doing good. It's around 13 cents right now. What we want to see is for it to break up and break above 15, 16. This area, again, I would really like that. Overall, if it can break back above 20 and have 20 as its floor, that would be bullish to me. I do think it's going to see new highs. I mean, it's just 30 cents is the high overall, and right now it's at 13 cents, and they haven't even released the staking information in the DEX and everything. And again, once they get more partnerships with, some of these huge YouTubers that have millions of viewers are gamers. And what if they get partnerships with these guys, right? All kinds of people, normal people outside of crypto, are going to want to get into SHROOM and use SHROOM, because it can be a way that they can trade in-game assets and also make passive income as well. So for me, bullish overall. I like it. Keep an eye on it. That's one of those things that I'm watching. So these are some altcoins that I'm watching, things that you want to watch. And really to end the overall video, I should have talked about this earlier, but Cole Garner talked about new Bitcoin addresses were absolutely off the charts. He said backstory is bullish and intriguing, a unique view on a new bull market catalyst, and basically they're up big time. Okay, these over the past month, the amount of new Bitcoin addresses. Okay, so that's bullish overall. A lot of on-chain analytics. If you want to check out Cole Garner, he's been following me for a long time. Good guy. He releases some pretty good information. And then he also retweets Willy Woo at some of this other stuff too. So you can check out Cole. So Cole Garner BTC. And then also too with Willy. Willy even says, kind of based off these things, is that this is one of the few times in my Bitcoin career where the fundamentals on-chain data are in moon mode. Basically, they're ready to take off, but yet the market hasn't woke up to it. But he thinks that they will be by 2021. Okay, this is an opportunity I've not seen since mid-2016. If you want to go back to the Bitcoin chart, you know, 2016, let me go probably maybe to the weekly chart, right? That would probably look better. But if we go to the weekly chart, 2016, right? There you go, right here. This area, right before the big run for the next year and a half, okay? So bull markets like this, I don't expect this to be over. No, is this the top? No, totally not. I mean, come on, look at this. It continues to break higher highs here on the larger time frames, and once it breaks this is going to be a catalyst breaking, 19K, 20K, and yeah, I think we continue to trend on up to here. Altcoins will go crazy. So this is good. This is just a pullback. You need a pullback in markets. It's very healthy, but overall too, if you look, it has held these weekly levels quite well, okay? Yep, right here. It's held this area. This has been a key area overall for Bitcoin, around 10,000, and it couldn't break above it, Now it broke above it, and it's holding it quite fine on the weekly. On the high time frames, there's nothing to be bearish about, in my opinion. So I agree with Willy and Cole. I think that on-chain analytics are showing some really cool stuff. I do believe overall that this is going to just be the start of another uptrend. We may see some downward price action that I believe will get bought up, but overall it's not a bad thing, okay? And so he says the market's not woke up because the price action's laggy. It's a laggy indicator of fundamental data and supply. Mania phases of bull market is when everyone is woke and it's too late. So basically he's saying it's not too late to get in. If you're not in yet, be smart. Nothing is financial advice. I mean, it's up to you how much you buy. I'm certainly not selling any of my Bitcoin at this time. I think that, yeah, I could sell a Bitcoin and make $10,000. Got to pay taxes on it. But overall, that's a good chunk of money, right? But I don't want to do that, because if we're in the phase where on-chain analytics is super bullish, then that's awesome. You got to take advantage of that. You have to be patient. Again, the famous saying that markets are meant to distribute wealth from the impatient to the patient. You have to be patient, right? You don't want to be the person who buys at the top and then just holds, hoping that it continues to pump. You want to be the person, technically the most successful people tend to buy when nobody else wants to buy, right? At the $3,000 level, at that dip that we had in March. It was as scary as can be. Nobody wanted to buy there, but you were highly rewarded for buying in those areas. Same thing here. People are scared at this 10K level, but overall things look good. So on-chain analytics look pretty good overall. Again, going back to this chart, the weekly looks really good as well. I know I've done a lot of talking today, but basically I wanted to talk to you about different assets that I'm watching. So again, Bitcoin doing pretty good, compressing, going sideways. Let's see this bad boy get above 10,900, specifically 11,100, and if also too, it needs to stay above that 10,400 level, or I think it's going to break down around 10,000 or right below it and retest those lows. So with that said, if you have not subscribed to the channel, hopefully this was helpful. This was a little bit longer of a video than usual, but make sure that you do that. Leave a comment below, and we'll give away $100 of Bitcoin later this week. With that said, I am Josh on behalf of Henry Clark. We just want to say thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Trade effectively. Thanks again.